Good morning, everybody. How are you? It's me, the old guy, sitting here soaked in sweat. It's just very, very hot, humid, not comfortable down here. That's the kind of weather you get down here, though. You get a really nice, you can have nice mornings and ridiculously hot afternoons. It's really crazy. Nobody knows what the hell's going on anymore. All right, let's see what's going on here, huh? Uh, There's a couple of pieces of information that dealing with Iran. One is that they were going to rebuild their nuclear whatever that's called enrichment program, which I think means it's making weapons. I'm not sure that that's the only reason for enriching uranium. But it's the one that they were accused of doing, and the one that, they're looking for a reason for the war. But that's followed by this, that the U.S. intel contradicts Trump's statements and opinions, and that's because there was no real threat from Iran at the time of the attack. What you had was Donald Trump doing his normal thing, which is flipping out because he doesn't read intelligence reports. He's sitting there, and Hegseth whispers in his ear. If it's not Hegseth, then it's Stephen Miller. If it's not Stephen Miller, it's the Tooth Fairy. He doesn't care. He just doesn't want to have to read intelligence reports because they're complicated, and Trump doesn't understand complicated. I doubt if he could read a contract and tell you what everything in the contract means. I'm not sure any CEO can do that. They get assurances from lawyers that they're paying a lot of money to that this is what you wanted. Don't worry about it. It's all set. No problem. Yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. Who knows? All right. But that took care of two of my stories. There was a real live possum. They don't tell you the airport. This is how they trick you into opening up a story, and I don't know whether they're getting paid by the click because it's CNN, or they're just trying to prove that stories like this generate advertising. They're good for advertising. But a real possum was found among these plush toys at an airport. And what they don't tell you is what airport. You got to open it up and read the story, and I didn't have time to do that right now. I just saw that headline and thought it'd be cute to add to that, because we have possums all over down here, which really, really surprised me because I didn't think possums lived in South America. But they're black and white. They're not friendly, trust me. They don't want any part of you, and but they will stay near garbage and fruit, and we have a lot of fruit trees and garbage, so guess what? They're here. There was a little baby running around, but I don't know whether he's still alive because he had gotten chewed up a little bit by something. Probably there's a big orange cat that lives next door in the complex next door to us and comes over to our place every once in a while. He eats birds, lizards. If he could, I think he'd eat a human being. This guy is just... I have one like this up in Parsippany where the police actually came and told the guy to keep it caged because it would kill anything and everything. Domestic birds, domestic animals, attack at this domestic animals. It didn't care. It was just a vicious cat. My cat at the time, Flounder, wanted to eat him, but that's, I didn't think it'd be good for him. But that's a human interest story. Now here's an interesting thing. I have to get the name of the airbase. Hold on one second. I'll get the name of the airbase. There was apparently this was oh, there they go. They just love to delete interesting articles. They had an incident at this base, which now the article is gone. Oh, there it is. The Washington Post article. Uh, this is a they don't tell you. They still don't tell you. Anyhow, they reported unidentified drones flying above the Washington Army base where Secretary Mark Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth live. Okay, so that was interesting. I thought that, well, how do they, everybody knows where these clowns live. I don't think too many care, you know. But everybody knows where they live. I actually thought they lived at Camp David, but I guess I was wrong. Unless that's the Army base they're talking about there. But I think Vance lives at Camp David, which is kind of dumb because that puts two leaders in the same location outside of the White House. So there are a lot of little stories like that going around. But if this is supposedly a secure area, it's an army base, and they should have no fly zone. And assuming that the drones have to come in probably about 6 feet or 7 feet off the ground, or 10 feet. What's a house? 25 feet up. So say they're coming in around between 25 and 50 feet, and they don't have any side radar, or any other type of radar or security devices that can identify these things and take them out of the air. The guards can't walk out and blast them out of the sky with shotguns. I just don't understand that. Security in this country depends on who you are and where you are. That's just really I thought that would have been a no-brainer. That. Well, if you ever read the YouTube headlines, which is I'm looking for something to talk about, you wonder how Trump is still president. If just half of these stories that are going on are true, what are you going to do? Oh, every one of these politicians, when they get nominated for something, somebody finds something that you either have to say isn't as bad as you think it is, or is worse than what you think it is. I'm not sure which way I ought to go with that one. I really, seriously. But that's one of the things that happens. You see all these. I don't know. Looking for something interesting to talk about. Hold on 1 second. We'll go back to there. and we'll see if we can find another interesting story to talk about. Oh, oh, you can't see this though. They said that they changed the headline from early this morning. Now it's oil prices soar. They're 113 $113.70 on Brent crude per barrel. But here's the deal. These are futures. These aren't tomorrow's prices. They're selling it at tomorrow's prices, but the oil's still in the ground. All right, the oil that's in the tanks at your gas station and whatnot, that's now charging whatever they're charging, depending on your locale, is not the same oil that they're talking about. It takes about 30 days for it to get to the pump. And during that 30 days, oil companies, because they've already raised the gasoline prices, are getting what they call a boost, you know. Oh, sorry about that. This is real, folks. When I sneeze, I sneeze. I don't edit it out later. But this was, they call it the South Park gas field is under attack, and that's going to cause natural gas prices to go through the roof. And Iran has just said that, you know, you keep screwing with us, we'll just blow the whole fucking thing up. You know, they don't care. And I was wondering why they haven't threatened to do that yet. You know, I know during the first or second Iraq war, you know, Desert Storm or whatever, they went over there and they did. They started to set fires to the oil fields, which caused gasoline prices to go through the roof. Of course, you have to understand that that was an oil shortage it caused because you couldn't get the oil out of the ground of those wells that were on fire. But the amount of wells that were on fire don't mean anything. Now, of course, there's the Chinese astronauts are trying to land on the moon, and they say, what happens before the U.S.? The Chinese will claim the moon for themselves, and eventually there'll be a war in space. Because that's just the way these idiots are. They're greedy. They want it. They want it. They want it. You know, and Musk is just trying to make money. He's selling a lot of questionable equipment to the United States government right now, and the government, for some reason, doesn't want to have a failure, which is, you know, part of what happens in life, you know. When you start messing with stuff like flying into space, you're going to have certain failures, you know. And there's no contingency for rescuing anybody like that. You can't do it. I mean, you just can't do it. I wish you could, but you can't. What did they do? Change that again? Here's New York City's headlines. Let's see what we got going here. Come on. I know you can do this. Howie Rose, the Mets play-by-play announcer, to retire after the 26th season. I didn't know he was able to still walk. He's an old guy. Pretty good, but again, they're all too much interested in the statistical end of baseball, which is, you know, what a lot of people that watch the game watch it because of this. They collect the statistics and everything, and then they play fantasy baseball, which is a huge thing. You know, fantasy football is one thing. Fantasy baseball is just entirely different because you can play that every day. You have a 162 game schedule, which makes it a little bit different, you know. TSA is warning that smaller airports could close due to sick calls because they're not getting paid, baby. That's why they're calling in sick. They're overworked and underpaid. A drone dropped knives, bandanas, and hair clippers into a New York prison. I'm telling you, man, they're going to ban drones pretty soon. That's an interesting thing, though, you know. Da, 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 da. Ta, 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 ta. I don't know why I'm humming, but I'm humming. I hear CBS that just doesn't say anything. They're just not reliable. Hegseth goes online and says that he's going to have the largest strike today. It's going to be today. Largest strike package yet coming today in Iran war. Oh, you know, that's just so stupid. He's about his security. His security is just. Oh man, I don't even want to talk about it. They just be arrest him for treason, or I'd arrest him for stupidity if you could. But then you have to arrest 90% of the government if you wanted to do that, you know. And some of the things I say come out so stupid because I don't know how to say them right, you know. So who knows, you know. Saying U.S. gas prices could erase bigger tax refunds. It takes about 2 days to erase a tax refund, okay? Everything goes up when people get tax refunds like that, you know, because they stop making these huge sale discounts and whatnot because they believe that people have money. I mean, Macy's used to. No, it's like cars, all right? Nobody in their right mind sells a car at list price, okay? No dealership in the world. Maybe Rolls-Royce, because they're custom-made cars. But any standard dealership does not sell a car at manufacturer's list price, okay? And when I worked for Chrysler Credit Corporation, I figured out you could sell a car for about $250 under wholesale and still make $500 on the car. Kind of strange, isn't it? Because it's all the aftermarketing. California spot ties U.S. temperature record for March. It's hotter than hell out there. And it's hot here, too. And I don't know whether this doesn't appear, to me, it doesn't seem normal for this area. But I know parts of this country have, when I thought, you know, we've seen everything plush and green around here, I've noticed parts of this country have been turned into a desert at times because of the lack of water. But that doesn't appear to be the problem right now. The stream across the street is running well over normal well over what it would be 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Something they did something to that stream. They removed some blockage or something, and now it's really running heavy today. So now the guy that resigned from as the intel officer. Trump counterterrorism chief who resigned is now under investigation for alleged leaks by the FBI. So, you know, I'd resign and then, you know, really screw him up and go live in Russia or something like that. Just a lot of bullshit. A lot of bullshit. Okay. That's it for me. You know how hard it is to dig up stories that you can try to make interesting? You know, I thought the story about the drones would have been better if they said UFOs flying over, you know? And you'd realize they just wanted to see what a real fucked up crazy person looks like, you know? But they don't do that. Okay, that's it for me. Hit the subscribe button, people, please, please, please. I'm going to go over and do my live video. I should be there in about 15 minutes, okay? Everybody have a wonderful day. Hit the subscribe button on your way out, and I will talk to you tomorrow.